Chinese shipyards showcase their exceptional capabilities, constructing 3 massive vessels simultaneously, a feat the United States struggles to replicate. The year 2025 will mark a pivotal moment in naval history, as the U.S. Navy faces unprecedented challenges, potentially losing its long-held position as the world's leading naval force. Recent satellite imagery of the Dalian shipyard, released by the United States, reveals an impressive sight. The facility is simultaneously constructing 2 Type 055 large destroyers and 1 Type 052 DL destroyer in its main shipyard, while another Type 055 destroyer undergoes final outfitting at the mooring. To put this into perspective, the combined tonnage of these newly constructed warships amounts to 43,000 tons, surpassing the entire destroyer fleet of the French Navy. While this production rate may not match the shipyard's previous capacity of building 5 destroyers simultaneously, it's worth noting that the earlier configuration consisted solely of Type 052D destroyers. The current setup, featuring 2 Type 055 destroyers at 10,000 tons each, demonstrates the facility's enhanced capabilities, maintaining Dalian Shipyard's position among the world's premier shipbuilding facilities. These Type 055 large destroyers under construction represent the 11th, 12th, and 13th vessels of their class for the Chinese Navy. The total production run for this destroyer class is expected to reach or exceed 16 vessels. In comparison, the U.S. Navy's comparable DDG-X destroyer program won't begin construction until 2034, with the first delivery scheduled for 2039. This timeline creates a significant technological and numerical gap, as the U.S. Navy must operate with relatively outdated destroyer technology compared to China's fleet for the next 10 to 20 years. Furthermore, by the time the first DDG-X destroyer enters service in 2039, the Chinese Navy will likely have already deployed its 4th-generation destroyers. This perpetual game of catch-up places the U.S. Navy in an increasingly challenging position. As the saying goes, one step behind leads to falling further behind, and it appears the U.S. Navy may struggle to match the rapid advancement of the Chinese Navy's technological capabilities and production capacity. As the world's preeminent naval power, the United States finds itself in an unexpectedly defensive position that demands immediate attention. C. Maple's analysis identifies 2 critical factors hindering the U.S. Navy's development. The first major challenge revolves around budgetary constraints, encompassing both the overall naval budget allocation and the escalating costs of technical equipment. While the U.S. Navy's annual budget of $250 billion appears substantial, matching China's entire military expenditure, this figure represents the funding for just one branch of the U.S. military services. Despite this seemingly robust budget, a significant portion is consumed by operational maintenance. The 2024 fiscal projections illustrate this imbalance, with over $70 billion allocated to operations and maintenance, while research and development receive only $20 billion, and procurement is limited to approximately $50 billion. This situation reveals a paradox. The U.S. Navy's strength has become its burden. The necessity to maintain an extensive fleet and numerous overseas bases demands substantial annual expenditure for basic operations, consequently squeezing the budget for procurement and research initiatives. Moreover, the $50 billion procurement budget, though considerable at first glance, proves inadequate when confronted with the astronomical costs of modern naval assets. The DDG-1000 Zumwalt-class destroyer serves as a prime example, with each vessel commanding a price tag of $3 billion, comparable to the cost of France's Charles de Gaulle medium-sized nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, or India's Vikrant carrier. While other nations can acquire an aircraft carrier for this sum, the U.S. Navy can only secure a destroyer. This financial inefficiency extends beyond major acquisitions, as evidenced by notorious examples like $1,200 coffee cups, representing just a fraction of the widespread fiscal mismanagement. The second critical issue lies in the U.S. Navy's program management deficiencies. Project delays and complications can be traced back to fundamental management issues, particularly in shipbuilding programs. A significant impediment to efficient military weapons development is the frequent demand for design modifications. After research and development teams invest years in crafting detailed proposals and approaching final stages, The U.S. Navy often intervenes with last-minute design change requirements, disrupting the entire process. This pattern of late-stage modifications not only delays project completion, but also increases costs and compromises the effectiveness of the final product. The DDG-X destroyer program exemplifies this pattern, having undergone at least 3 significant design modifications since its initial published drawings. The latest alterations, scheduled between late 2024 and early 2025, notably include the elimination of the gun system. Each design revision represents a costly setback in both research and development timelines. This mirrors the challenges faced by India's defense projects, where programs like the LCA fighter and Arjun main battle tank suffered decades-long delays due to frequent design modifications. The question arises, should the U.S. Navy continue modifying designs to maintain technological parity with China's naval advancements? There's a real possibility that when China unveils its next-generation destroyer, the DDG-X program will require a 4th major design revision, potentially causing further construction delays. Meanwhile, China's Dalian shipyard possesses remarkable capabilities, with docking facilities capable of simultaneously constructing 3 large vessels, a capacity that's virtually unmatched globally. This industrial advantage poses a significant challenge to the United States Navy's competitive position in naval shipbuilding.